Well, welcome to everybody and good afternoon. I apologize for having to leave early, but I will try to give you a short overview of what is going on in Turkey and how the steel production profile looks like. Starting with the first... Okay. Yeah. With the first chart. Okay. If you take a look at the overall crude steel production in Turkey, we can say that the capacity roughly is around 52 million metric tons annually, of which unfortunately only a part is being used. Last year in 2016 we made use of roughly around 33 million metric tons of capacity, out of which main capacity is coming from electrical arc furnace based producers, if we're talking about liquid steel here. This chart shows more or less the percentage of the production which has been made in 2016. 77% is coming from EAFs and the rest, around 23%, is coming from integrated steel mills. In Turkey we just have, unfortunately, 3 integrated steel mills producing from iron ore and coking coal, which are Erdemir, İsdemir and Kardemir. And this is another burden, let's say, in our market, because the most production coming from these electrical arc furnaces unfortunately cannot be consumed totally within our own market. We have an excess of production over there. Of course, I also have to mention that Turkey is one of the biggest scrap importer in the world. Last year, which can be seen over here, we made use of approximately 26 million metric tons of scrap, of which approximately 8 million metric tons have been used from the domestic market, and the rest of it has all been supplied from imports, mainly coming from the US and Europe. Here can we see the division of long and flat steel production. As I tried to emphasize, as for long steel products, Turkey has enough capacity, has an excess of capacity and is a net exporter. Whereas for the flat steel industry, unfortunately, we are still importing. Actually, if you take a look at the figures, figure-wise, there might be enough capacity, but because of the source of production, the type of production, there are still many imports coming into the Turkish market. Here again, import, export, production, and the consumption figures of the Turkish market. The production, we're talking about flat steel, including actually coated steel over here, so cold rolled and galvanized is also included in this slide. The production is roughly around 11 million metric tons, of which the export is roughly 3 million tons, talking about 2016. Import, when it comes, the main imported product over here is hot rolled steel coils. And the overall figure over there is nearly 9 million metric tons in total. Where are we consuming and where are we exporting? Mainly commercial grades, so construction is the first field of consumption, let's say here. Approximately 67% is going into the field of construction, followed by the automotive industry and all the other field of industries, of which 6% is machinery, and the rest of it goes to packing, electronic devices, etc. Exports, Middle East is the main market, followed by the EU, North America, North Africa. However, of course, export markets, where we're talking about coated steel especially, is quickly changing, let's say, from year to year, because when we take a look at, for ourselves, for example, a couple of years ago, Russia was one of the main markets, then followed by Libya, and this year it's the EU and North America. But overall, we could say that most of the material is going into the Middle East. What are the challenges that we have in our market? First of all, as I already emphasized, the import of imported steel products. There is an increase, unfortunately. especially when it comes to long products and for flat steel, for hot rolled products, anti-dumping cases which are going on everywhere, geopolitical concerns, and then the low capacity utilization is something maybe which has to be improved, but then it has to be followed, of course, by consuming markets. They have to be developed. Some facts about the Turkish market. As I said, we have 3 integrated mills, but producing from iron ore and coking coal. But unfortunately, Turkey is not very rich concerning the raw material, iron ore, coking coal. These all have to be imported. Same-wise for electrical arc furnaces. Scrap, Turkey is the biggest scrap importer. And this, unfortunately, will not change. So we will remain an importing country. The capacities are not divided very fairly, so there's a big lack of hot rolled coils coming from integrated mills, which maybe is another challenge, brings another challenge to import, not only import, sorry, to invest in this field of production, even though highly costly investments are being mentioned, of course, over here. The opportunities that we have, a lot of new investments are going on in Turkey. Infrastructure, industrial and urbanization, houses, industrial buildings. We have many of new investments. There's still an economic growth which will increase, we expect. The population, we have a young population, and it's very much in our favor. It has a big effect also on other new projects, especially regarding the urbanization and new housings, etc. What we need is actually more value-added products investments, we believe. And from that point of view, our company at least made one new investment last year, which I will give some brief information about. This is some general information about our company. I'll just go quickly through it. Tezcan is a family-owned company which started in the steel business in the 60s and then as a trader, and then started with some small capacity production. And within the 20 years that I've been working with this company, we non-stop made new investments, starting from just galvanizing up to color-coated steel, and then down backwards to hot-rolled pickled material. We're one of the main flat coated steel producers in Turkey, the second biggest coated flat steel exporter in Turkey, and we have more than 500 employees at the moment, which is constantly increasing right now. And of course, this experience and being a family-owned company, being makes us very flexible, which brings a big advantage also when it comes to competition. Okay. The products that we have, as I said, we start from hot rolled pickled, cold rolled full hard, galvanized, color coated. Pre-painted, and now with the new investment that we made last year, Galvaloom production, and our own steel service center. So it's all at one destination, which brings a big advantage. Countries where we are exporting have exported, even China in the past, which seems to be a dream right now, but we made it. Short introduction about Galvaloom. The reason why we made this investment was that we built up several coating lines, cold rolling mills, etc. But as I said, we need more value-added products in our country, and we need to develop the products that we are already producing. And that's after some research, we decided to proceed with Galvaloom, which is a licensed product by BIEC, the United States. Which gives us some advantages compared to galvanized material, but at the same time can be consumed anywhere where galvanized steel is being used. So we're the only producer in the Turkish market, and will be like this for the next 8 years, as we are an official licensee. Advantages of the product: corrosion performance is nearly 3 times as much compared with galvanized. Heat reflectivity is one of the biggest advantages that we have because it reflects the heat and that gives a better observation. Galvanic production and the surface gives a better view. Some product applications. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to improve at the moment, of course, our markets for this product, and have already, especially to the United States and the European market, we have started to produce and export already our new product. Our aim, of course, is to remain one of the biggest exporters on this field. At the moment, currently, we are producing and selling approximately about 80% of our total production into the domestic market, whereas the rest of it is being exported. And I forgot to say that the total capacity that we have currently, after all these new investments, it's roughly 1.3 million metric tons. And hopefully this will, we will keep growing with some additional capacities for some new products. That's more or less what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.